If you feel stuck, it is not because your job is impossible. You feel stuck because your attention is being pulled into work that isn't actually yours. And the moment you start reclaiming even a small portion of your time for futurist, steward, and optimizer work, I can assure you that everything begins to change. Welcome to the Successful Nonprofits Podcast. Friend, I'm Dolph Goldenberg, and I am a consultant, coach, and confidant for leaders at small and large organizations across the country. And I bring more than 3 decades of leadership and consulting experience, building, growing, leading, and repairing organizations. Today, friend, I am going to talk about why so many strong and capable nonprofit executive directors feel busy all day, but are not actually doing the most important work that moves their organization forward. By the end of the episode, you will have a simple framework to rethink about how you spend your time and a very practical way to shift your day in, day out operational gravity work back into the work that only you as the chief executive can do. I want to start by telling you about a coaching client. She is the executive director of a small but growing nonprofit. She is smart, capable, and deeply committed to her mission. And every time that she and I would meet, she was just exhausted. I often ask my coaching clients to do some prep work before our session, and she almost never did that work. It wasn't because she didn't want to, but her days were packed. Meetings, emails, staff questions, funder requests, budget tweaks, personnel issues. And at the end of the day, she felt like she had a productive day. But she also felt extremely frustrated because she would actually say, she just felt like she was running in place on a treadmill. When I asked her to describe the last time she had a truly strategic day, she paused. Then she smiled, and she told me about flying back from a conference on the other coast. She had 3 uninterrupted hours in the air and spent that time synthesizing and digesting her key learnings from the conference. Operational gravity was keeping her frustrated, and that plane ride was proof that she could sail high above it all. As the chief executive, there are 3 roles that only you can fill: the futurist, the steward, and the optimizer. And when operational gravity takes over, these are the roles that get crowded out. So I wanted to share with you all 3 of the roles, and then we're going to have a little more of a conversation. The first is futurist. No one else in your organization is regularly thinking 20 or even 10 years into the future. As the futurist, your role is to digest and reflect on the trends that are going to impact your organization and the people that you serve. In that role of futurist, you're asking some big questions. What are the long-term risks and opportunities, the big ones that my organization is facing? How will changes in technology, media, and society impact our mission and our operations? And where do we need to be in 20 years in order to be effective? Let me be clear. After you answer those questions, you're not making radical changes every month or even every year, because it will cause whiplash for your staff, your clients, and your community. But what you are doing is you are regularly making small decisions that nudge your organization in the right direction. And then every few years, you're making some big moves. And those small decisions and big moves combine to move your organization forward. The next role is steward. As the steward, you are managing and cultivating your organization's resources so that they can replenish and multiply. When I talk about stewardship, especially replenishing and multiplying, most people think about money, but it starts with people, your staff, your board, your key stakeholders. You're using their time wisely. You're respecting their expertise and you're engaging them in a way that ensures your organization thrives. Now, in addition to people, you are also stewarding legal compliance, public trust, and of course, as part of that, your organization's reputation. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for all of it. Now, friend, before I share our third role, optimizer, as a nonprofit chief executive, I'm going to take Friend, before we talk about that third role, optimizer of the nonprofit chief executive, we are going to take a very short break. All right, friend, before the break, we talked about the first two roles of the chief executive, the futurist and the steward. Now let's talk about the optimizer, because the optimizer is where strategy and stewardship truly come to life. This is where you ensure that your organization is operating efficiently and effectively so that it really can meet its goals. Now, that optimizing role includes decisions that no one else can make. For example, hiring or terminating someone. This is especially true if you're at a smaller organization. Choosing between competing priorities, the final review of your Form 990. All of those are things that only you can do, especially at a small organization. But here's the trap. Too often, we over focus on the optimizer role. And the reason we do is because it feels more productive and it feels less ambiguous. Marking 4 tasks off our to-do list feels better than spending 2 hours thinking about the future. It just does. So here's the discipline. Before you take on a task under the guise of being the optimizer, ask yourself, is this actually work that only I can do? If it's not, then please delegate it out. And if you can't delegate it yet, ask yourself this other question. What should I do? What should I change so that I can delegate this in 6 months? Because that, friend, that is the true embodiment of your futurist and steward roles. You also have to be a futurist about how you're going to be spending your time and stewarding your time in the future. This is not about effort. It's about structure. Emails and meetings are pull-based work. They demand your attention. But CEO level work is pushed based work. No one is asking you to do it. No one is running to your desk going, oh my gosh, I need you to be thinking about the future. I need you to be thinking about stewardship or about optimizing what we do. No one is coming to you every day and saying that. This is truly the work, though, that you need to be doing. Emails and meetings, they're poll based work. They demand your attention. There are people coming to your desk or showing up in meetings saying, oh my gosh, we need you to do this right now. Your best chief executive level work is pushed based. No one is asking you to do it. No one is showing up at meetings going, oh my gosh, you have to be thinking about the future. We need you to put time on your calendar today to think about the future. And that means that it is the easiest work to put off. And instead, the visible, urgent, and easy to complete crowds out the work that is ambiguous, that is long-term, but deeply impactful. And that's the operational gravity that we all have to break free from. So let's go ahead and bring this together. As a nonprofit executive director, your job is not defined by how many emails you answer or the number of meetings you attend. Your job is to focus on three roles: futurist, which is holding the long-term vision; steward, so that you are protecting and cultivating resources and trust; and of course, optimizer, making those high-stake decisions that move the organization forward. And the challenge isn't understanding this, because you knew what your role was before you clicked play on this podcast. The challenge is protecting time to actually do that critically important work. Now, if you found this helpful, there's two other resources at Successful Nonprofits I want you to check out. The first is a blog post about categorizing and triaging your fires. I'm going to link to that in the show notes. The second is a bonus break of the podcast, 5 steps for addressing disruptive behavior. That is also linked to in the show notes. So, friend, here's my final thought. If you feel stuck, it is not because your job is impossible. You feel stuck because your attention is being pulled into work that isn't actually yours. And the moment you start reclaiming even a small portion of your time for futurist, steward, and optimizer work, I can assure you that everything begins to change. That, my friend, that's our show for the week. I hope that you have gained some insight to help you and your nonprofit thrive. And of course, the lawyers make me say it. I'm not an accountant nor an attorney, and neither I nor the consulting practice provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied on for tax, legal, or accounting advice. Please, if that is what you need, find a licensed, qualified professional in your area and get the support you need.